everybody, and welcome to Inside AWI. My name is Rebecca Matter, and I am joined today by our Learning Chief, Pam Foster. How you doing, Pam?
Hi, welcome everybody.
Welcome, welcome. We have Katie Akel also in the background answering questions if you're here with us live, as well as Jade live on Facebook. And we're all together and excited about this. It's kind of ironic that we're doing this before we go into the weekend. But today's subject is super exciting for us because it is 7 weekend writing projects worth $1,000 each. Now, of course, there's going to be ranges, and we're going to talk about all of the ranges, but the idea being that you could make weekends your transition into well-paid writing. We are going to go over the benefits. We're going to kick off with, we have a lot to cover, just so you know. This is going to be a rapid fire session, but we have the benefits of short projects, right? There's a lot to be gained, not only from this weekend idea, but short projects in general. Then we'll actually go through the 7 projects. So there's actually over 80 different projects if you're brand new to this world that you could take on. But today we're going to focus only on 7 that have fees that can go upwards of 1,000, sometimes more, and show you kind of what they are, who hires, and what you can expect from the projects, so you can get a feel for this small number. And then we're going to help you choose kind of what is the right short projects for you and how you can move forward once you've decided. So let's go ahead and dig on in. I wanted to kick off with kind of the 5 benefits of short weekend projects. So again, there are dozens of ways that you could get paid to write. What we focus on today is the idea that for many of you, you're doing this on the side. You have a full-time job, you have a life, maybe you're taking care of kids and a house and family, and there's a lot going on. And so this might not be your full-time career yet, right? You need a way to transition in, or you don't want to have a full career. You just want to do something on the side. Having a little bit of extra money every single month would be a really nice thing. We were talking about this in another meeting earlier this week. One of our members was saying, hey, I got started. She's very successful now, Jill, but she was saying at first it was just like an extra $1,000 a month. I'm in. Like if your boss came every single month and said, here's an extra $1,000, you would say, that's awesome. And you would be happy. I think sometimes we think about writing careers, we think about the future, we think about leaving our jobs and all the things, and that almost feels a little too out of reach. But if we just think about the next step, which is earning money and actually getting paid to write, that feels much more attainable. So when we approach it this way, we think, oh, my first goal is just to make an extra $1,000 a month. That doesn't seem as scary. And by the end of this presentation, you'll see just how not easy, you still have to do the work, but how approachable, accessible that opportunity is for you. So with short projects, there are many other benefits though, besides being able to do them on the side. The first is that it's an easy entry in. You don't have to learn a lot, know a lot. A lot of new people in this space think I have to learn it all before I get started. But the reality is you just have to learn one project. Now, are you going to want to learn more? Of course you are, because why would you not take advantage of all the opportunities that you can with every company that you write for? But learning a simple project is a way of getting your foot in and saying, okay, I can do this. I can do an assignment, meet it by a deadline, and get paid for it. So it's an easy entry. It builds our confidence and shows us this is viable for you. There's no real commitment. Now, we are going to talk about retainers with a couple of the opportunities where you can decide to do it on a monthly basis, where you're going to write the same amount every month and the client is going to pay you the same amount every month, which is nice for those of you transitioning from full-time jobs who are looking for a little stability in your income. But in general, when you're starting with these projects, you don't have to make any commitment. You can just do the project and move on, and then decide in the future if you want to do more. Fast turnaround. So if you're working full-time or you have a big life with a lot of things, only a little bit of time to spend, you want projects that you can finish. Even if the client is willing to give you months to do it, do you want to wait months to get paid? Or would you rather work on projects that you can start, finish, and invoice for so that you can get paid? So there's a nice fast turnaround with these. You can make money, like we talked about, while working full-time. So it's a great way of either just bonusing yourself every month, extra money every month is fine by me, or starting to step towards going full-time without having it be this big risk where you quit your job and, start this brand new thing, scared, starting at the bottom. You don't have to do that. You can sidestep slowly into it. And then when you're ready, you can scale up. Eventually you get to a point where you say, wow, I'm making this much money working 8 hours. what would it look like if I worked all 40? And that's when you can make the decisions to start scaling. So it's a nice, safe, easy entry into well-paid writing.
Yeah, and I just want to throw in that I know so many members of AWAI who've done just that. They've started out while working a full job. Steve Maurer is one example. John Stoltz was a whole bunch of people. Krista, they were working full time, and then they caught the bug for writing for clients, and they started doing it on the side and learning and making their weekends a joy to learn and earn. So it's very common to take that approach if you're thinking you have to go all in and make a big leap. Not necessarily. That's why we love these projects.
I would actually guess that that's the majority. I would think people who decide I'm going to be a full-time copywriter and go all in out of the gate, I bet that's the anomaly. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I bet many people might think I have to make this big decision, but the reality is you don't. So what makes a right weekend project? What are projects when we pick this presentation? How did we choose the projects that we're going to show you? The first one is it has a very short learning curve. Now, some of you have backgrounds in marketing and sales and business and things like that. Some of you don't. You're a nurse, you're a teacher, you're a airplane mechanic. You have different backgrounds. So your exposure to copy and content might not be that big yet. I use the word yet a lot of times because it's something my kids taught me. Whenever you hear yourself saying, I can't do this, I've literally said it in the car, and my little ones would be in the back seat going, yet. It was something that they learned at school and something that I hold close to my heart now. And I've made it part of my daily practice. So when you find yourself saying, I can't do that, I want you to start appending it with the word yet. So you will learn all of these things, but the key in building confidence and gaining momentum and building the career that you want is starting to do, right? Getting clients, doing projects, and getting paid. There's nothing that is a greater motivator or a greater proof piece than getting a paycheck for something that you've done. In all aspects of life, right? In any kind of work situation, once you get paid to do the thing, you're like, okay, I can do the thing. I'm good enough. So I want things for this presentation that have short learning curves where you can just take a singular program or get exposed to this specific project and be able to learn it fast and be good at it fast. That's another key. Short learning curve, not only to learn the stuff, but to be able to do the work. And you're going to see why when we get into the examples. I wanted projects that are in high demand, right? We want projects that clients, when they hear about, when they know about, what they want these things. It's not some obscure thing that nobody actually is thinking about wanting. It's when they hear about it or they know about it already, they're like, yes, I want that project. I need that project in my business. We want great fees. If I'm going to spend time working and I only have a limited amount of time, I need a pretty high fee for the hours that I'm working. So everything we've chosen, and there is a range, and you're going to see how we stack them. You might need to do 2 of one thing in order to hit 1,000, but you can still do it in the time parameters that we set. But everything is valued at, meaning clients are known to pay. AWI pays its writers these prices to write these things. So everything that we're going to show you has a price range that can get you up over that $1,000 mark. And the time spent is under 16 hours, figuring that's what's a weekend. But honestly, a lot of them, as you're going to see, it's actually a lot less. But those were our boundaries for the projects that we chose today. And then this idea. So now we're going to move into these projects, but this idea, I want you to think about this as you're going through this. What would it look like to make your weekends or your evenings or whatever you're looking at as your free time profitable, right? Just go to that really simple mindset of what would it mean to make $1,000 more a month? That is, you're going to see the time spent on those projects. You can stack as many as you want, but maybe it's 2,000, right? What is your goal for this? For yourself, but just thinking about that. What if I spent some amount of my time in the weekend or something else, actually working towards my business? So today you're going to explore the projects and we're going to talk about who's going to pay you to write them. You will determine which projects you'd like to start with. You will get the skills that you need and then start writing and getting paid. And I want your mindset here. Like, do you have to make these decisions today? Of course not. But should you? Yes. Whenever you have an opportunity to step forward on the path, I want you, even if it's not, it doesn't have to be this big, gigantic step or leap down the path, but when opportunities present themselves and you can take a step forward, even if it's just a decision, even if it's just making your desire known, even if it's just you being here today, great job. You took a step forward towards your writing career. This alone is a step for today. You took advantage of this opportunity. So I would go through this presentation with that mindset of, I'm going to try to make a decision by the end or over the weekend and see what happens next.
Right. And as far as who will pay you to write them, we are going to give you some statistics, but beyond the statistics, we know clients, we do research all the time as to what the top marketing channels are, or the ones that bring clients the most return on their investment, or the ones that are working the most. And so that's why we picked the 7 we did, because they really resonate with what companies need and want now. And they may, I know there's tons of stats out there, but and we'll show you some of them for each project type, but the overarching concept is that they don't have great writers right now. One of the biggest challenges is finding writers who know how to deliver these different projects. They don't have someone on staff, or if they do have somebody on staff, they're beyond capacity. They're up to their eyeballs in other work, or they don't know the special skills for certain projects. I've run into that a lot, where an agency, for example, that has lots of clients, they might have 2 staff writers, and those 2 staff writers are busy, busy, busy. They need extra help. So they bring in freelancers to augment what they can do in-house, and everybody wins that way. So I just want you to know that almost in every market, in every kind of business category, whether they're selling to consumers or other businesses, there's a constant demand for them to be out in front of their potential customers through content, through marketing. And so it's just like, we could go a long way into the exploding demand for skilled copywriters. We have different presentations on that. But just trust us when we say, we're doing this stuff every day here at AWAI. I work with freelance clients who need this regularly. So we know what we're talking about when we say you will find companies that need your help.
And if you're brand new, just to put it in perspective, we're talking millions of companies. So you can any kind of industry, anything that is made or sold in the US, in the world, but even if you were just to focus in the US, millions of companies, from professional service providers like veterinarians and cybersecurity experts and accountants, to actual companies selling everything from goldfish tanks to Yeti coolers to big lawnmowers for big construction. I mean, everything you could possibly think of. If you're brand new to this, I would recommend that you take a look at our niche webinar. If Katie or Jade can pop it in the chat, that will kind of introduce you to the wide variety of companies. And we have loads of information on how to get clients on our website. So tons there as well.
Yeah,
Let's kick off these projects.
Yeah, even if you think locally, example, and I'll show you in a second, but my accountant I've been writing for almost 30 years. He's just local here in Portland, Maine. He only serves, it's a small boutique firm, but I've been writing for them for 100 years because they need to keep communicating with their clients and their potential clients. So even locally, you can find business. If you're brand new and you're like, where are the clients? Right down the street or in a niche market you're interested in, they're everywhere. So I just wanted to mention that before we dive in. So let's look at the 7 weekend writing projects worth $1,000 each. Now, let me give you a little caveat. As Rebecca said, when we give you the pricing of how you could earn $1,000 each, it's a range, and it's what we're seeing out there. And as a beginner, you might not charge as much, or you might charge more, totally up to you. So these are ranges, and I just wanted to give that little caveat. Okay, so blog posts, you could do 2 in a weekend easily, because I know it, because I do that. I wanted to talk about this topic because I've been blogging for clients in the veterinary space mainly for a couple of decades now. And they can't just write one blog post and go, well, we're all done. We've said everything we need to. No, it keeps going. And what works is blogging great articles about something that client's audience needs is a great way to bring in awareness, traffic, and build that relationship with the customer. So any kind of market can do this. They blog, like this one is really exciting, right? The 5 things every veterinary scrub sink must have. Now, is that relevant to you? Probably not. But this client serves veterinary practices and shelters and things like that. So they need to write content that will interest their audience. So I had so much fun writing different things about this, like what makes a great kennel cage and things like that, because those posts will bring in business. As a matter of fact, my client said, once we post or publish a post on a specific topic, the phones start ringing for leads, for sales. So it really is a great strategy that's still working. You just have to be really helpful to your clients in creating unique and super helpful content for them. And, you know, we've heard a lot about AI, and I'm just going to mention it once here. AI can be helpful in these ways, but to really offer unique perspectives and stories from your clients and stories from your clients' customers, you need to help them do that with original content that isn't seen everywhere else. So as a blogger for a client, you can do really well. Now, here's some stats. 4 in 5 internet users regularly read blogs, and 76% of B2B, that's business to business, businesses selling to other businesses, they marketers generate leads through blogging. Like I just said, 61% of US consumers made a purchase based on a recommendation in a blog. So you might see product review blog posts or unboxing blog posts or videos or that are embedded in a blog post or things like that, where people are seeking, like, why should I pick this product? And the blogger did a great job of explaining why. And then it leads to click, I'm going to buy that. So it's great for the business. And then companies need to regularly publish posts. And this is a tricky thing for them. For example, my veterinary equipment client would say, we don't know what to talk about. We've run out of ideas. How are we going to do this every month? And I would say, well, let's talk about what's going on. What are the questions that your customers ask you on a regular basis? We can answer those in a blog post. What are seasonal things that are going on every year? What are topical, hot topics right now in the veterinary industry, for example? That's where you can come in and help them create ideas for blog posts, and then you'll work with their team, or you'll talk to a customer of theirs. There's so many ways to write the post, and the client, you'll work with the client, but then you'll also do research and work on your own too, and you'll be a superhero. This blog post here, Rebecca, if you can weigh in on this, work at home woman, tell us the story of that, because it's so amazing to me.
I can. So this is my best friend, actually, one of my best friends, Holly Hannah. She was pregnant with her daughter, and when I met her, and we were talking about what I do, and she came to me and said, you know, I just don't want to go back to work I don't want to go back to nursing after I have this baby. I want to be home. And I was like, well, you should really explore what AWI has to offer. And so we worked on ideas for her. And I had her actually do some research for me in the work at home space, because it was an opportunity that AWI was thinking about targeting, or an audience. And she came back and she said, it's not really great. I could do better than they can. I'm like, well, let's do it. Like, go for it. And so she started a blog, and she, fast forward, did not go back to work when her daughter was born. And now her daughter, I'm going to her graduation party in 2 weeks. And she has never gone back to work, because she's made so much money from her blog. She's been able to live the life that she wanted without ever, and it was never even in her mind's eye that she would be a writer. That was never her dream, her intention. She just didn't want to leave her baby at home. That was kind of her catalyst, and it went on from there.
And what I know about Hannah, who is a remarkable person, is that she got so busy with this blog that she actually hires other bloggers too.
She does. She has a lot of people who actually write for her.
Right. So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of getting hired to write blog posts. Typically, there are short blog posts, like Seth Godin writes maybe 50 words, but he's a unique individual. There are long blog posts that can be 2,000 to 3,000 words, and that's an awesome gig too. But the typical blog is very focused on one topic or theme at a time, about 1,200 to 1,500 words. It may take you 3 to 4 hours to write a post, maybe shorter, maybe longer, depending on the legwork that you have to do. You might actually end up calling and interviewing someone, which will take longer, or you can do research, or the client may give you some materials which help it go shorter. It really depends, but you can typically charge around 500 per post. And I'm saying around because, again, it might be a shorter fee, a smaller fee for you if you're blogging for a real small local business, but you you have a passion project there, or you can charge more. It just depends on the client and you, but that's a typical scenario. So if you write 2 posts in a weekend, that's $1,000 right there. So it's also the perfect retainer project. And what we mean by that is the client retains you on a contract basis month after month after month to write a certain amount of content that you both agree to. So you might set up a contract to write 2 blog posts a month for $500 each. That's $1,000 a month. If you do 4, like 1 post a weekend, you end up with I can't do math, 2,000 a month that way. So it just really depends, but the opportunity is there. It has not died. It has not diminished in any way. Putting out helpful, super customer focused content is still one of the top ways to get clients for your customer, or customers for your client is what I meant. So we do have a program, and we're going to mention all our programs that are relevant to the topics we're talking about, because that's where you get the quick learning curve. You could walk through this program or any of them in a weekend. I have, so I know. Way back in the day when I was first learning SEO, search engine optimization, I took the AWAI program off the shelf and I said, I'm going to go through it this weekend. And I did. So you can. And that's a link to, and we're going to post the links in the chat as well. But when we post the slides on the replay page, those links will be live. You can click on them to check out our programs. So that's blog posts, one of my favorite things to do. It's fun, it's easy, and you're making a huge difference to clients. So next up, Rebecca is going to talk about case studies. If I can get this to click forward. So,
and I see a couple of questions about job boards and how do we get clients. So let's save those for the Q&A. We will definitely answer those because those are questions that I love to talk about. So if you have questions around job boards, we'll answer during the Q&A. I also, just as we're going through this, wanted to just also weigh in on AI. We have tons of great content on our website around AI, but know that AI, while it has changed our industry, is not taking any money away from the industry. The money is actually coming in bigger than ever. We have some amazing projections that are coming, that more money will be spent in the next 5 years on copywriting services. I'll actually find the stat and put it in the chat. That rhymed. Than in the history. I mean, the growth in copywriting services is blowing up, which is crazy when you think that AI, when it entered the scene, was going to destroy the job as we knew it. Not true. And just 2 things I want you to think about as you go through these and you think about the tool of AI, which you should be using as a writer. And we have lots of resources on our website about it. But 1, imagine a veterinarian writing a blog post using AI. I think his best time is best served being in the rooms with his patients, right? When you think about the cybersecurity expert, can he use AI to generate content for his blog and his social media and write a newsletter? He could, but that's not what he's trained to do. He's trained to protect companies' systems, right, from being broken into. Whoever you're writing for is really good at what they do. They went to school to do the thing that they do well. You are getting training. You are a writer. And so your job, whether you're using AI or not, is to help them bring in more prospects, turn them into customers, and keep those customers with them and keep them front of mind in those customers' minds. So the writer is necessary. We are a necessary human in the loop, is what we say in AI. So don't fear it, but if you're brand new, I do recommend that you get up to speed on it, and we have tons. Just put in the letters AI into our search bar, and you'll have more content than you could possibly ever need on the topic. But let's dive into case studies, because case studies talk about a project that AI can't really do, because AI doesn't have opinions. AI doesn't do interviewing. It can't reach out to the customer's success story and find out what happened. If you're brand new, case studies are basically these success stories. They are short stories, less than 2 pages, on how a product or service solved a challenge with amazing results, right? It's a before and after story. This person, before they used our product or service, was like this. They had this problem they wanted to solve. They used our product, and now, lo and behold, the problem is solved, and here's everything now. Case studies are amazing because they're so much fun. They cannot be created by any other company. Every company has to have unique customers with unique experiences. Case studies show us, the consumers, why this product, or if this product even works, right? We've all seen before and afters. That the proof is in that, right? So case studies are such a powerful content piece that companies can put forward in all of their promotions to say, look, we're not just saying it works, it does work. And that's what a case study is all about. Pam's running my slides. So if I delay for a second, that's no, I appreciate it. So the cool thing about case studies is they need them throughout the year. If I publish one case study, I'm like, here's somebody who used my product or service. Isn't that great? I can only use that one for so long before people are like, right, but is anyone else? Well, that was a year ago. Was anybody else? Is anyone else doing? Are they still succeeding? So the need for them is, it's once they understand and the power of case studies, they're so incredibly valuable to the marketing machine. They're well used, they're heavily used over in the B2B side of things, business to business, where businesses sell to other companies instead of consumers like you and me, but they have moved into the B2C space. You've seen this in health and wellness, fitness. You know, we have tons on our website because, again, instead of me telling you that our programs are successful, why don't I let you meet the people who've taken the program so you can see where they came from, what problems they were trying to solve, and how our copywriting programs have helped them live the life that they wanted to live or solve the problem that they had. So demand is high, it's content. So if those of you who are afraid of direct response or selling, things like that, this is a nice soft project. One client can need a ton of them. We have published over 80 on our website. You can see them right now. So if you want to later on meet some of the AWAI members, some of you who are on here are actually, I see your names, are actually featured in the case studies. Hi, Steve, I see you there. You can go to the case studies and read their stories to see where they came from and find a few people who feel like you and see what they did, see what their recommendations are. The length is short. I love this. We talk about this as the 2-page story, usually 800 to 1,200 words. It takes about 5 to 8 hours, and that includes actually interviewing the person. So your client will actually hand over and say, hi, Pam Foster, she'd be a great case study. I would like you to interview her, and here's her contact details. She's already agreed to it. You set up a call or an email or a Zoom with Pam. Pam, I have some questions to ask you, and it's already all prepared, and she answers the questions. You record it, or she writes it in the email, and then you take that. And this is where you, the writer, comes in. You get to write the story. Like, how do you make it? Interviews are kind of boring if it's just question, answer, question, answer. And when people write things or the way they answer, guilty as charged, they tend to ramble and say a whole bunch of other things. So you, as the case study writer, are taking the story and like thinking like, what is the story here? And if you go to our case study page, you'll see the stories. It's not Pam Foster took a product and took a program and now she's a very successful writer. No, it's like, where did she come from? What was the issue? Like, why did she want to change her life? And what does her life look like now? If you're not familiar with case studies, just go read ours. You'll see it's about the story that's inside. And that is your job as the writer, is to pull the story. So if you're a storyteller, this is going to be your jam. I love case studies.
Mm-hmm.
And you write one a month. I mean, like, that's from a fee standpoint. We call this one the $1,500 2-page story. The fees are going to range, like in everything, right? You'll have some companies who want to pay or who expect to pay less. You'll have some companies who expect to pay more. That's just what they pay for case studies, especially if they're already publishing case studies. You know, we pay $1,500 for a case study. So there's no real question. You're like, hey, you have 85 case studies. How much do you pay for a case study? We already have a fee. In other rounds, other companies are like, we've never used them before. What should we expect to charge? Well, depending on how long it is, it'll be somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000, but let's see. And then you're going to talk to the client. We have a whole bunch of content on pricing as well, but $1,500 is usually that sweet spot. Our program, if you want, AWAIonline.com or AWAI.com, we have a program for everything. If this is what AWAI is about. Our job is to help you make money writing, to introduce you to the opportunity. So if there is a way for you to make money writing, we have found it. We have found the opportunity, we have found the expert, and we have found the unicorn of an expert. People who are not just teaching, but are actually doing the things. All of our faculty members are working copywriters, experts in their field, who also happen to be great teachers. So they make a ton of money doing the thing that they're really good at, which is writing. And then they also are teachers. We have the best. If you're brand new to us, we have the best teachers. It is what it is. We have the best teachers and the best community. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Well, you're right. Okay. And now let's talk about emails, Rebecca. You have some very, more experience than most people I know in the email.
I live in emails. I write emails every single day. I read emails every day. I study the emails. I study the data. I mean, emails is like this beast that can never stop. It is so, there's just so much, because as effective as the emails are, if you send more emails, they will be even more effective. It is such a hard thing to wrap your head around. And new writers will always say, but What if it's too much email? I don't want them to send, no. And some clients will even say, oh gosh, I don't want to bother our people. Well, let the numbers talk. Do you want to do better or do you want to stay the same? If you want to grow, you're going to send more email. It is what it is, which is great for you because the more emails they need, the more fees that you have. Emails are critical in a marketing world of today. In this digital world that we are in, it is how I can talk to one singular person, a million of them at one time, but I can have a singular conversation. They're highly effective at moving people towards the purchase. They can get people to make a purchase and they can help with customer retention. If you're brand new to marketing, awareness, subscription, purchase, retention, all of this, we have a great resource online. If you just Google or search our website for customer journey, or maybe Jade or Katie can go grab the link to understand how your job as a writer is really to move people through this journey of awareness. I didn't even realize this was an opportunity or that you existed, to building a relationship. We are trustworthy and it takes time. So that's emails and emails and emails and emails, to moving you towards a solution, actually making a decision and maybe buying something, to helping you achieve the solution. We don't want at AWAI and all of your companies that you're going to work for, we don't want you just buy our programs and walk away. We want you to buy our programs and take them and be successful. Like, see the benefit, get to the solution. I'm guilty of buying stuff. I've got a closet behind those curtains that is full of products and workout things and all the things I was going to do one day and the books I was going to read and the businesses I was going to start, all the things. But none of that stuff works unless we do the thing. But you could genuinely just write emails to motivate buyers to do the thing. How great is that? To be able, that's called retention, to be able to help somebody reach the solution, reach the future that they are hoping to have when they made that buying decision. So emails are in every aspect of the marketing channel, and we're going to look at why.
Yeah, and this is how it works, really, Rebecca, if you want to walk through that.
Sure. So this is what would be considered lead generation. So this is the awareness things I just talked about. I sign up for a report. You see this all the time. You probably came to AWAI this way. Did you know you can make a living as a writer? Here's 9 ways. You sign up for a report. You receive an email that a copywriter wrote. Then another one that a copywriter wrote. Then this one, and on and on and on it goes. If you happen to buy something, you get a different email. Then you get another one. Then you get this other one. There's this ongoing demand. But those emails can actually be written and preset that are automated. So this is an automated side of things while you're writing the daily emails and things that are fresh, that are keeping the entire audience engaged and keeping them moving forward. And that's where there's multiple opportunities here. They work because they have amazing ROI for every, this is a stat, and I've seen the numbers go way higher than this. If you Google the stat, this is actually the low end. For every $1 spent in marketing, you get an ROI of $36 to $46. This is the company per email, like crazy on a dollar spent. It is always the #1 marketing channel for effectiveness and ROI. Social media is often up there, search, things like that, but email is always at the top. The emails that we're talking about on the lead gen side of things, those are called marketing funnels. Those can be automated. So you can get paid to write 7 emails for the automated sequence. And then you can also be writing emails that are being sent regularly. There's tons in our program that we'll give you the link to, or just search our website for emails. You'll find out there are dozens of different even kinds of emails that you could be writing for clients. I feel like if you're really looking for some length in one specialty, this is it. And customer experience only gets better. It's better if they're getting relevant emails. So they need emails that are fresh and new and meeting them where they are in their buying decisions.
Yeah, and if you're new to marketing, ROI is return on investment. So every dollar that a client will spend on email, writing, and the platform that they send it out in, $36 to $40 per email, per dollar. I mean, that's massive. You can't find that. Social media doesn't even touch that. So that's why we wanted you to be aware. Now, you might say, oh, I get too many emails, oh, spam, blah, blah. If you sign up with a company you really like, and you're either a customer already or you just like what they put out in their newsletter, you welcome that email, right? For the most part. Like I have, guitar lessons or clothing companies I like or other things. I signed up for those because I want to hear from them. And that's when it works great. So that last bullet there, relevant emails is the big difference. Not spam, not just random stuff. But when you're helping clients connect in email with the customers and potential customers, they want that. They signed up for that. They opted in, like you did for our 9 report. If you did 9 ways, you want to know how to make money as a writer, and we're going to follow up through email to show you the opportunities that are real and happening today for many of our members. So that's stuff you want, right? And that's how that works. So, sure, you can unsubscribe and forget about other emails, but the ones that you signed up for from companies you like, that could even be an opportunity for you to reach out to them and say, oh, I love your emails and I have an idea for you. And we're going to talk more about getting clients, but I just wanted to plant that seed for those who I can kind of mentally hear you going, I get too many emails. But the ones you open that are working, those are the ones you could write for clients. Okay, back to you.
Okay, so you could write, if we're looking at $1,000 in a weekend type project, you're talking 4 emails. Now, again, ranges are going to vary from emails. This is typically what we're paying for emails at AWAI, but $250 an email, $1,000. Bob Bly, every time I send, Bob Bly is a very well-known copywriter in our space. Every time I send an email to our file or a newsletter to our audience that says that you can make $250 per email, he writes me back saying, I get paid $1,500 to write an email. I'm like, I know there's a range, but we want to keep it in the widest, where the most amount of people can be charging this fee. So you can go up from here, and especially depending on length of the emails and intention and what your goal is of the emails, it could be more, but this is pretty standard. And again, could be less, could be more, but everything is in this program, including not only how to, you think like, I know how to write an email. There are nuances, and there's a difference between writing an email and writing an effective email. And that's where things like AI struggle, because I need to break through all of the noise, right? I need to think about who my prospect is, where they are right now. And I've got to get through the 1,000 other emails that they got so that they say, Sandy Franks is one of our faculty members, a brilliant copy chief, but she would say, why this, why me, why this, why now? Why this email? And that's the thinking that goes in and how we actually write those emails. And then in addition to that, this program talks about or teaches you how to write a variety of types of emails. So whether you're writing for automated systems, or you're writing for sales emails, or you're writing retention emails, or depending on the use of the email, one company needs emails all the way across. So there's just so much length in this opportunity, and it is covered in this program.
Okay, moving on to newsletters. This is one of my favorite projects. I know I said blogs was one of mine. This is a toss-up here. Blogging or writing newsletters. I love them both. So newsletters, you probably get newsletters from different companies, and the good ones are newsy. They have tips, they have stories, they have breaking alerts. But what they generally do is position the company as the expert on a subject. So the newsletter is meant to keep them top of mind with the customers and potential customers, so that when a buying decision time comes up, they're going to remember where they saw a newsletter mentioning a particular solution or something like that. So that's where newsletters can turn prospects into customers, or upsell, like something you may have already bought. You may have signed up for the newsletter, you bought something, then you get a special offer in an upcoming newsletter just for the buyers, just for customers. And so that's like, it's not only converting prospects into buyers, but also they keep those customers coming back and potentially buying more. The Morning Brew on the bottom there is a great example of a newsletter that is daily. Oh my gosh, daily, but it's a digest with commentary. So they report on the things that are happening that matter the most in the world, or in marketing in particular. You can pick different categories of Morning Brew, but it's easy to read, easy to scan. If you see a topic, like they'll write their own descriptions for what's going on, then they link to a news story about it. So it's so user-friendly. It's one of the most popular newsletters out there, and they write it every day. They have a team of writers, similar to the Daily Good. Every single day, you're going to get some good news into your email inbox. Now, on the converse, other end of the spectrum, I do a newsletter. This is my local accountant in Portland, Maine. And we do a newsletter every quarter because they're just a really small business and they want to make sure what they put out is helpful to clients, which are both individuals and small business owners. And that's about the capacity they can handle is once a quarter. And they actually send it out in the mail. How, we stopped for a while. We started doing online only and they're like, where's my mailed copy? So we went back to mail. But each newsletter can cover a variety of relevant topics for that audience. So each month, each quarter, I'll sit down with my client or we'll email back and forth and say, what do you want to talk about this month? And usually they'll have 3 or 4 things about your money, taxes, and then they always feature a couple of their clients. And the number one, we did a survey. What's the number one reason you open this newsletter? The client profiles. Aha, so we're on to something. So 30 years later, I've been featuring clients of theirs, and it's been so much fun because those are unique stories about businesses and individuals that are doing well with their money and their taxes and thriving. So,
you know, it's so funny too, Pam. I was talking to Michael Katz, who is our faculty member on the professional services. He teaches you how to write newsletters for professional service providers. But he was talking about the best performing newsletters for him. And this is another reason why AI can't replace him, is that what their clients wanted to hear from was like the fact that he was rewatching Game of Thrones for the second time, or books he was writing. And so when he talks to his clients, they're like, can't you just write? And he'll say, no, we got to have a conversation. Let's grab a coffee and talk. Like, tell me what's going on in your world. And the newsletters, it makes his professional service writers so much more human. It's not just your accountant. It's your accountant who has a similar interest in whatever the thing is. And newsletters are just such a great way. So I'm not surprised that it's the thing that makes that people are most excited about, because it's real. And thank you for bringing that up.
Sure. And we make sure the tone is very down to earth and friendly because they are a small boutique accounting firm. They're not one of the big accounting firms that sort of like you're a number to them. No, to these guys, it's a relationship. It's personal. We really want to help you. And that's what the whole website talks about, and the newsletter. And the voice is very warm and friendly and nurturing. And so you will develop with your clients whatever tone or appropriate approach works best for them and their audience. And that's so much fun because you're much more than a writer. You're actually coming up with ideas and conveying their thoughts for them in a way that works best for that reader. So in all of these, you are not just writing, you're actually helping clients get their voice across and build relationships.
Excuse me, Pam, I'm just going to jump in for a minute. We've just had a couple questions about the difference between newsletters and email.
Okay.
And like, for instance, Elizabeth is asking, how does a daily newsletter tidbit differ from a email update in the customer journey? And I'm curious about what your answer to that is.
Well, I'd love to hear Rebecca's too, but my answer is emails are very one-on-one and just usually one topic per email, one very specific theme, one call to action, one insight that they want the reader to take away. Like, welcome to our company. Thank you for buying this product. Here's a video on how to make it work. Very, very specific and focused. Newsletters are usually more ranging in topics, a variety of topics. Ann Handley, who writes an amazing newsletter called Anarchy, she will focus on a specific topic in her newsletter, but then she'll also include some curated items at the bottom. So there's a variety for the reader every time. So to me, the difference is emails are very specific and focused on one thing, and newsletters will kind of give you a broader realm on a subject or include a variety of subjects in them. Does that make sense? I hope so.
It doesn't. I would just add as well that, a lot of the material that you'll be writing can be repurposed. Yes. So it doesn't have to fit into one specific silo, and you can spin it in different ways.
Great.
I always think of it this way, like, also in addition to what they're saying too, is like, I'm going to send you an email, right? It's from me to you. And that's what, in this day of email marketing, it is a one-to-one. It has to feel that way. It has to read that way. Now, a newsletter could also feel that way, but it doesn't have to. So your newsletters are going to have a masthead, which is that image at the top. It's going to feel more like when I see a newsletter, I approach it differently. I approach it as a piece of content that I am consuming. Whereas when I get an email, I approach an email, and this is kind of the psychology of it, as you emailed me, and I'm listening to you as a person. And when you're working with clients, that's important to note. When we're writing emails, we write emails from me to you, not from the company. You don't sign an email by a company. You sign an email by a person. A newsletter could be a company, but if you look at the Writer's Life, that's our newsletter, but it includes a letter at the top from me, right? So there is a person, we have a kind of a hybrid situation, but you see the masthead, it's what people are signing up for to get the Writer's Life. And then below that, you'll see the news. So it's a letter news that we have with the Writer's Life. We just flip the things. So just kind of think of that in mind, keep that in mind. When I'm writing an email, it's me to you, even though I can send it to 1,000 people. And when I write a newsletter, it can come from company. It has a lot more flexibility, but the person receiving it does not see it as personal. The person receiving it sees it as content that they are to consume. There's just a slight different nuance in how we approach the marketing as it appears in our inbox.
That's great. Good. Okay, so there are newsletters of all kinds. This little example on the right is a newsletter I write for called Pet Care Weekly, and I write just one article for that newsletter. So that's different from me writing the entire Honeko Tool accounting firm's newsletter, which is 4 pages if you're going to send it out in the mail. So it all depends. There are ranges in newsletters. So if I'm writing one article, that's going to take me less time and be, you know, up to maybe 800 words. If I'm writing the entire newsletter, like I am for my accountant, that's 12 to 1,500 words, sometimes maybe 2,000 words. Usually takes me about 8 hours to write that full newsletter, as opposed to writing one article. The fee for the newsletter that I do is 800 to 1,000. I just bumped it up to 1,000. I mean, 30 years later.
For you.
I think I started out at, I don't know, 250 and whatever the heck it was, 2005. And then, well, no, it would have been 1995. Doing math is not my strength. Okay. But you know, if you're writing a robust newsletter, you could probably even charge more than that, especially for bigger companies. So it's really dependent on the industry, the length, the complexity, the size of the business, how much budget they have. But that's why we're kind of giving you this ballpark here to see what you could do in a weekend. And then finally, it is, again, another great retention project, because they're not going to write one newsletter and go, okay, we're all done, that's it. No, every month, every quarter, every week, whatever the schedule is, they need to keep sending it out, right? They've set up a pattern and they need to keep it going. So one client, one newsletter a month, we're ballparking $1,000. Could be more, could be a little less, but this is what we're basing it on. And that's a program we have, how to write engaging e-newsletters. And the e-newsletters are just sent by email. You could still write for clients who want the old snail mail version like I have, but that program walks you through everything you need to know to write compelling newsletters. And we give you different components or different newsletter styles. And then for each client, you may pick and choose different pieces depending on what that client wants to convey and how their business runs. So it's a lot of fun, and you get to write samples there too. Okay, back to you, Rebecca, on short sales letters.
Who wants to write sales letters? Raise your hand. I'm just kidding. Every time we talk about sales letters, everybody's like, oh, I don't want to sell. But guys, sales letters don't have to be these massive 40 to 75 page things that you get from me on a regular basis. I will say though, conversation for another day, we should talk about sales letters. It could be your end goal of getting there. When we started this company, or Katie started this company with Mark and Paul and Don, the founders, all those almost 3 decades ago, this was the big opportunity, because you paid a ton of money and you can get royalties. That's kind of where this company was founded. But as the internet came, then social media, now AI, there's just so much more opportunity where you can get paid sooner by doing these shorter projects. But I couldn't not talk about sales letters, because at the end of the day, again, it doesn't have to be this big project. Now, can you get paid more to write big sales letters? Yes. Are they super fun to write? Yes. Once you get to them, most people will never try to do them. So it's a huge opportunity with a little bit of people who are able to do it. But you can take that same idea and strip it down. It could be a 2-page sales letter. This is an example of from the Wall Street Journal. It's a classic letter. But at the end of the day, everybody is in business to get sales, right? So we don't want to, as writers, say, I don't want to sell. That's our job, is to help the company thrive, to help it grow, to help it survive, right? And the only way a company survives is with sales. So even if we're writing at the beginning, the content side of things, we're still moving people ultimately to the sale. And why I love getting involved in sales letters, if I were you, is that this is where everything leads to. If you're writing the sales letters, and again, it could just be 2 pages. And a lot of companies do send very short sales letters or sales pages. If you understand the sales letter and you write that, all those opportunities, all that copy that's in front of the sales letter is going to be even more effective because you know what you're driving to. So the emails, the content, the social media posts, the newsletters, everything else is yours for the taking because you are ultimately at the end of the chain, which is to get the sales. 2-page sales letters can still deliver huge results. The keyword here is response. It is a trackable response, which means from an email, all the response I'm looking at an email is opens and clicks. How many people open it? How many people clicked? At the end of the day, the sales letter is what did the job though. So the sales letter gets credit for the sale. Social media posts, which ones drove traffic? Content pieces, which one drove traffic, right? Those metrics are all leading to this one. But the person who wrote the sales letter gets the credit. The person who wrote the sales letter gets to say, I'm the one who brought in the sales, and therefore they are paid accordingly. They are paid very well to write the sales letter, and oftentimes they have royalties attached to them. Now, this is a B2B example, and Pam noted it here because it has a 15% response, which is huge. B2B and B2C are very different beasts. On the B2C side of things, we're hoping for like a 2% response rate, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But on the B2B side, you're not going to have things as royalties. Their sales team gets the credit. So even though we did the sales letter, even though we got the stuff, at the end of the day, usually the sales people get all of the credit and the commissions. But in the writing side of things, on the B2C side, royalties are an example. We're going to have to fire. I just realized we have 5 minutes. So let's.
I know. I just
Next
wanted to
slides,
very
Pam.
quickly say, I knew how to write this letter because of AWAI. I joined AWAI in 2005. I learned the copywriting course. I wrote this letter for the company I worked for, and we were blown away by the response. And it's like, it works, you guys.
So good.
Yeah, I was so proud of this letter, but
You should be proud. And that's, in case those of you who are new don't know, Pam Buster, she's like the hair club for men. She's also a client. She was a member. She sat in your shoes. She attended a boot camp. She bought a program. She got a letter in the mail that said, can you write a simple letter? Did you get retired this year? What was your letter?
what's that?
Pam.
Oh, mine was retired this year and make more money than most doctors.
She got a sales letter and she came to
Yep.
AWAI, and then she became
Right.
a very successful writer. Apparently wrote that letter for a client, now has moved on and went all the way up to being one of our faculty members, all the way to our learning chief and teaching you here and in programs like Circle of Success and many of our programs. So a short sales letter, whereas the longer ones, the 40 to 75 page letters, are behemoths, this one can be 1,000 words. It doesn't have to be a lot. So now all of a sudden we're like, oh, I can make pretty good money for just a couple of pages, and I could still get royalties. The nuance is just in understanding how a sales letter works. Once you know that, by the way, everybody, whether you write them or not, should learn how a sales letter works, because once you do, everything you write gets stronger. Your content, your blog posts, your newsletters, your emails, your social media posts, everything that you do. That's why we still are rooted in the idea of persuasion, direct response. We start with that core foundation in all of our training, because it is not only is it the biggest opportunity, like from a single project standpoint, but once you know how to write them, it just bleeds into everything else that you do. Once you learn the formula and secrets to success, you can easily write 2 pages in a weekend. Easily. You can write day one and then you rest it, come back, review it, write it again, and you're done. And so we have this program is the accelerated program for 7-figure copywriting. It is our program that talks exclusively about, or teaches you exclusively about, writing sales letters. But for those of you in the AWAI method, which is our core foundation program, you'll actually tackle a short sales letter in that program as well. So you have 2 opportunities here to learn this, but don't resist it. Remember, companies are in business to be in business. They have to make sales. And if you can help them and understand, if nothing else, have empathy that that's their goal, all the other copy that you write, you're like, okay, I get, even if I don't write the sales letter, I still got to move people towards that buying decision. And that's why we are in business.
Yes. Okay. Now, to talk about rapid fire, I'm going to whip through these last 2 ones. You have no doubt seen short videos all the time on YouTube, on websites, on social media. And in 2024, thanks to Katie sending me this statistic, it's a fast growing channel. It has grown and grown and grown, up 19, almost 20% year over year. 62.1 billion is spent on video marketing. Unbelievable. So 89% of businesses use video of all kinds, explainer videos. I'm going to show you in a second how many different kinds. 93% of marketers say video delivers a good return on investment. And 99% of marketers say video helped increase user understanding of their product or service, which is critical for sales. If people don't understand your product or service, you're going to move on, right? They're going to move on. So understanding, wow, this works and this can benefit me, and they see it through video has been huge. So short video scripts, what we're talking about are under 2 minutes typically. And there are many different kinds, like explainer videos, which is explaining how something works. This Mint video here explains how that mint.com works to help you manage your money. Customer testimonials or case studies, bring them to life in video. We were talking about case studies that are written. Well, video is a great way to have a customer tell their story and show the results of or the outcome of a customer's product in video, which is a lot of fun. Then demos, product demos, how to use a product you just bought, or even how to do something in the client's product category that then shows them as an authority and a great provider of information. Video ads, of course, commercials online, and then company culture videos are also big. So video, they're everywhere. It's growing. A typical script, I'm showing you an example of one script type here where you have a scene, you describe the visual aspect, and then you describe what the narrator might say or the talent may say. Those are typically 150 words per scripted minute, and it might take you 4 to 6 hours to write one of these. And the typical fee, again, ranges, but the typical fee is $500 per scripted minute. So if you write a 2-minute video, bada boom, bada bing, you're up to $1,000 in a weekend writing a video script. Here's our great program on how to write video scripts, $200 to $500 per scripted minute. Short, fun. The program shows you all kinds of videos for all kinds of different client types. And then you're going to write a video script sample, turn it in, get some feedback, which, bada boom, you have an example. That's our link to that. Okay, finally, drum roll. This is by far my favorite project. I know I said blogs and newsletters, but site content audits. What I mean by that is reviewing a website for a client and pointing out the things that are missing or the reasons that they're not getting the results on their website and they don't even show up in search results. It's a problem and they don't know why. Now, just this morning, I saw a report about the 2025 state of websites, and they said 90% of the surveyed hundreds and hundreds of companies, 90% said that the website drives more revenue than any other channel, 91%. And 62% of the surveyed people said more than half of their sales, their revenue, comes from their website. So guess what? If the website is in rotten shape, they're losing money every day. They're really hurting, and it's gonna be something you can fix for them. So what you do with a site audit is you have a checklist that I created for our program on this, and you look for common issues. And we're talking about content, not technical issues, but content is huge, because if a customer arrives at a website and they can't tell what the customer does or why they should stick around or why they're the best option, they're going to move along, right? So you can go through with this checklist. Is it clear? Is it focused on the customer? Instead of saying something like pompous, we are the best because we call that corporate we. Or they'll say something vague like 100 years of excellence. And the customer's like, but what do you do? So those are the things you can help customers, clients, discover, because they're so in the weeds of running their business and everything. They don't even realize half the time that these are the problems with their website. So then you'll write a report detailing what you found, gaps and opportunities, And then you can recommend what could be fixed. And here's a big bonus. After you do the audit and report, you can offer to fix the content problems and get paid again to write the great content that's going to work for them. So your report is typically about 10 to 13 pages. You'll take some screenshots. This is an example here. You might say, like, for example, on this page, here are your competitors and how they stack up against your website. They're very clear. They're focused on the customer. They're offering a big benefit. You don't really say anything. You have a big photo with no copy. Let's fix that. So you'll do that kind of stuff. And it might take you about 8 to 10 hours, maybe fewer hours with experience, but you can charge $1,000, $2,500. I'm giving you a range again for a single report for a client. And the value for them is that you are going to change their business dramatically. So you're not just writing copy, you're not just pointing out problems, you can change their business dramatically by finding what isn't working and fixing it. So here you go, one site audit per month. If we're looking at the weekend fee here, $1,000 to $2,500, and then you get paid more as you say, listen, I can write these pages, I can optimize them for you and make them more customer and conversion friendly. Again, that is such value. Here's a program we have, Site Audits Made Simple. It walks you through the checklist, how to talk to customers, how to get the right information from the start so you can do a good job, and then how to go ahead and ask for that work after you've turned in the report. Okay, that was number 7. So now that we've overwhelmed you with awesomeness, how do you go ahead and take this information and go for the best projects for you? So we have a plan. Rebecca, you want to walk through that?
Sure. And then we'll open up for Q&A. So sit around if you have any questions for us. We're happy to dive into anything. But this is your action plan. Like, you've been through this great presentation. You understand now these opportunities. You understand there are dozens. We're just going to keep it focused to choose one so we can move forward. So pick a project. Which of the 7 projects, I would love for you guys to put it in the chat. Which of the 7 projects are you most excited about? If I were to hand you one and say, this is your project, which project would you want it to be? Pick one. And then get whatever training you need. You might already have experience. Many of you, it's fun seeing what programs you've already taken from us. So you've taken a program, so go forward with it. But get the training that you need to do the project. Create a couple of samples. There's a lot of confusion over samples. People think, oh, I don't have any clients. How do I get samples? How do I get samples if I don't have any clients? The reality is samples are just samples. If you say you can write a case study, prove it, right? Show me that you can write a case study. Any one of our programs that you take will have the opportunity. You're actually part of our methodology of teaching is having you work on projects that are real. So you understand how to do it. You get the experience. So when you're working with clients, it's not your first project. You've already worked on projects with us. And those projects that you work on can become samples in your portfolio. It's not proof that you've done it for someone else. It's proof that you can do the assignment. I just want to see emails from you. I want to see a newsletter from you so you can create samples. And again, it's actually built into training, but you can do this on your own as well. And then the scary part, reach out to potential clients. We have tons of getting clients on our website. It's all part of your training as well. One of the things we charge all of our faculty members with, because they are working professionals and not just people who are teaching, that's something that they read out of a book, they have to include in their program how to get clients for this particular project. Now, if you watch any presentations on our website, Pam does a great one on picking a niche. Elise Bennett does a great one on promoting yourself with LinkedIn. There's lots of ways to attract your audience. Even for us introverts who are terrified of reaching out, there are plenty of ways. But as part of all of our training programs, it is included as well, because we believe if you are just learning something, it's more of a hobby. If you're getting paid to do something, that's actually a career. So it's baked into everything. And then report back. We love hearing the stories. I'm actually getting side notes and conversations about they took this program and this is what they're doing now. And every time they do this, they're reminded of this thing, and that helps them talk to clients. And it's been fun watching the chat. And I see some of you have already emailed me as well. So definitely report back on your success. Or if you are in a situation where you're like, they want me to do something and I've never done this before, what do I do? We can help guide you. AWAI is behind you, whether it's with our training programs. Okay, you've never done that before. That's okay. We have a program for that. We can teach you how to do that fast. Or you're in a situation that you've never navigated before. I'm not sure how to price this thing. I don't know how to have this conversation. They're asking me a question I don't know the answer to. What do I do? we've got you. We are behind you every step of the way. So report back in, share your stories with us, and let us know how we can help you. If there is anything that we can do to help you move forward, you can count us in. This is our jam. It's what we do. We live for this. I love that we're doing this webinar today, and I get to be with Pam and Katie and Jade and all of you all, because this is what makes everything we do so much fun and so fulfilling. So definitely feedback to us. Let us know, especially if there's a block in front of you. How can we help you remove it? If there's an opportunity, how can we help you seize it? We want to be with you every step of the way, including the best part, which is celebrating. We're really good at celebrating. So give us that opportunity to celebrate.
Great. And while you were talking, I saw lots and lots of great choices. Focus. Most people picked 1 or 2 things only. Good for you.
Good job.
Excellent. Good job. Again, if you have any questions for us, please put them in the Q&A versus the chat, because the chat has a lot going on, and we want to make sure we see your question.
And a couple people joined us late or had to leave. This has all been recorded. I highly recommend you go back and listen, because there was so much gold here. There were so many ideas. And, you know, I would just encourage you to take each one of these and really put it through the filter of what excites you, where do you have a leg up to get started quicker? Where do you have some ideas? This is great. I'm loving just seeing all the excitement. And the other thing is, there's so much opportunity here too. So it's not like there's a small pie here. There's so much opportunity for everybody. We did have a couple questions about job boards, and Rebecca, I think you touched on those, but
I didn't actually answer them. I just said that we would talk about them at the end.
Great. So I'm just going to put those together. One is from Crown's iPhone and the other is from Rachel. And they're finding job boards challenging regarding experience needed. And, you know, Rebecca, what would you say to that?
So for me, job boards are just information that they hire writers. And if you just think about it from the perspective of a company, oh, I'm a marketer. Well, we need to hire a copywriter. Okay, I'm going to go post it on a job board, right? Because that's the only way I can think of to hire a copywriter and not spend a lot of my time. So I go to the job board, or I call human resources, and there's a form they want me to fill out. And it says, what kind of degree? I don't know, I guess like a BA in communications. How much experience? I don't know. What is this, like a 2 or 5 year job? Like, so they fill out a form, and job boards force them to do these things. You as the writer, what you need to understand is that they're just doing it for simplicity and speed. The reality is, it doesn't matter. Just because you have a degree does not mean you're good at your job. Just because you have experience doesn't mean you're a good writer. And so for those opportunities, I want you to reach out. First of all, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is a fit. Look to see in the job posting, what is it that they're hiring? What words are they using? You can tell what it is that they want. What are they trying to accomplish? What outcomes? What project types? What is their area of the field that they're in? And make sure that stuff is on your LinkedIn profile, so that when they go there, they see, oh, this is somebody who is relevant. This is a potential candidate. And then know that, again, experience is only as good as the proof, right? The samples, the communication. Think about when you reach out to the clients, what you're going to say, why you, right? If I'm going to reach out, let's say, to an infant safety company, I use this example a lot. I have 2 little kids. They were one-time infants. I understand. I know nothing about infant safety. I'm not from that industry, but I'm a mom. So if I'm going to lead with that, I would say, who better to write your copy? I love your products and services. I remember spending tons of money and time because I was terrified that something was going to happen to one of my babies. Who better to write your copy than me, right? There are lots of ways that we can approach clients that have nothing to do with, I don't have a BA, I don't have 5 years of experience. We're going to go with what we do have. So think to yourself, and hopefully you're looking for a niche. Like, AWAI is a little bit different in that we are not just here to fire off projects. We are not the Fivers. We are not, you might gain experience through those types of job listings, but that's not what we do here. We teach you to build an actual career servicing companies in specific niches that fit you, who you want to work for. So while the job boards are out there and a way for companies to hire copywriters because it gives them speed and access to tons, that's not necessarily, we can use it, That's not necessarily what we teach. We're teaching you to take control of your career. The reality is you only need 4 or 5 clients if you're going to stay on the freelance side of things. So why not go after the companies and the topics that you want to write about, not just what's being advertised? So if you go for the job boards, again, realize they've just filled out a form. Tell them what do you have? Don't even just ignore the rest of it. And if they come back like, do you have a BA in communications? You'll say, no, what would a BA in communications help me with running your social media campaigns? Nothing. I am on social media though, and I'm really good at it. Let me show you what I can do for you. So we have to think about it that way. But then right next to that, realize that job boards is just one type or one way for us to get clients, building a business. And we have tons of content around this on our website. Just look up getting clients and look at webinars like this one. Really building a business is I'm going to be in what industry? Who do I want to serve? How am I going to serve them? And everything that I do is going to be about that. My LinkedIn profile, the content that I write, everything is targeting my ideal clients so that when they see me, they're like, oh, we've been looking for you, right? They're not going to find me on a job board. They're going to find me because I am the copywriter specializing in their space. So hopefully that alleviates a little bit of the
Well said.
job board pressure.
And right, these companies hire, get familiar with what they're sending out, with what they're posting, get involved in their forums, their social media, become a presence, become a voice. And that is so much stronger than just answering a cold ad, in my opinion. Elizabeth is asking, is it best to put our samples on our website? I have an opinion, but Rebecca,
I have an opinion too, and I want to hear Pam's opinion. My opinion is I would say samples upon request only because I want the opportunity to tailor the samples. If it's a client that is an industry that I don't typically write for, like let's say it's, I write in financial, but I love infant safety or health and fitness or whatever, and all my examples are financial, it might turn away somebody that wants, so I want the ability to say to them, most of my samples are actually in the financial space, but I'm very passionate about health and fitness. I would love to just write a blog post for you, paid, but that way you can kind of see, I'd like to do a custom sample for you. I believe that every company has its own style and tone. And so I'd like to show you what I can do specifically for you rather than showing you a sample of what I've done for somebody else.
I totally agree. And again, we're not looking for dozens or hundreds. We're looking for one at a time. And when you can personalize your outreach, when you can personalize the conversation that you're having, that's so much more powerful. And that's what you guys are learning how to do with us. And you apply it to your client outreach as well. It's not just for what you're doing for the clients, it's how you attract the clients as well. Okay, we're getting lots of love, this was a good time, and we love doing this, so we're happy, and I appreciate all the enthusiasm, and I'm so excited to see what you all do. Let's see, I don't see any more specific, there's nothing in Q&A. Oh wait, one more came in. I'm on LinkedIn, but my profile is that of a coach because that's what I am as well. Should I create a oh, here we go. The question we get every webinar is, as far as LinkedIn goes, if you already have a LinkedIn profile about a different job that you're doing, how do you handle that if you want to reach out and expand? Pam, what's your answer for that?
Well, what I'm hearing out there in the world is that it's okay to say you do two things. I mean, we have some members who work at a job full time and they may feel awkward doing that. But if you're a coach, then writing is awesome to add to that, I think. In your title, you could say, I'm a coach for these kinds of business professionals, and I also do writing to help you thrive. Making that up, but I think it's totally fine and legitimate to say you do both. I mean, LinkedIn is where you can make it what you want to convey to the world. And I don't think any coaching client would be turned off by the fact that you're writing. I think it actually might be a cool thing to them. So that's my gut feeling, is that it's perfectly fine. You cannot have two separate profiles. So that's an important thing to know. Your LinkedIn profile is the one that you can have. You can have a different page, create a page for a business that you're involved in. But yeah, Steve Mauer is posting exactly what I just said. You could, but I would augment the profile you have and say, I do both, because kind of a cool juxtaposition there, in my opinion.
All right. I think with that, it's time to wrap. Just do a quick last call. Oh, and thank you so much. We really do appreciate this positive feedback. We appreciate your enthusiasm, like I said, and we are rooting for you. We're here for you. As you saw, from some of the personal comments in the chat, we love getting to know you guys. We love helping you. We love helping seeing your progress and celebrating your success. So please keep in touch and get going, get started. Let's do this.
I'm catching up in the chat. You guys were just so active and engaged today. It's so much fun to see all of those great insights and conversations. Definitely continue over the conversation in our Copywriting Insiders group on Facebook. Nice to see if people you will ever meet. Really supportive group of writers, especially if you're new here. Treasure trove of people and answers and insights. And know that we do this usually every month. So if there's something that you want covered, definitely email me at askrebecca@awai.com. and let us know what you're interested in, what you could use more insights into. We like to create these presentations around what you all need most, in addition to what we believe you need to know. So we give you what you want as well as what we think that you need. But we are here every step of the way. So do reach out. We love doing this, and we look forward to hearing from you and hearing about your success and working with you in our various programs and webinars as well. All right.
Go get them. Keep us posted.
All right, everybody.
Bye, everybody.